Ria TV, True FM.
Say Ria TV, True FM.
On Ria TV,
into Truth FM 96.1.
What's the meaning of the black barrier?
The black barrier is to tell Joseph Bakala, if you don't organize yourself in your grateful manner, we'll take your plate like
You might say what you want to say, but for us, we are here to make sure we build our country, that we are respected. We have donors that are coming.
From the News Center of the Renaissance Communications Incorporated, a pleasant good evening and welcome to News Text for the 5 minutes of news from the News and Current Affairs Department here at the Renaissance Communications Incorporated. Today is Monday, September 1, 2025. My name is Johnson Matoma presenting. In the headlines, former Unity Party political leader Ellen Johnson Sirleaf denies claims circulating in the public that she allegedly donated 1,000 bales of cement and 15,000 United States dollars to the Congress for Democratic Change. House of Representatives accepts a communication from the executive mansion in response to its request for a temporary suspension of key components of the concession agreement with the Liberia Traffic Management. Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency newly inducted officer in charge threatens to weigh out personnel of the agency from undermining the fight against illicit drugs. And away from Liberia, a court in Finland sentences a controversial leader of a Nigerian secessionist movement to 6 years in prison after convicting him of terrorism-related offenses. These plus many more, the reading of the news bulletin sports are all packaged on today's edition of the program News Desk. We'll take a break to be back.
Ria TV, True FM.
Say Ria TV, True FM.
On Ria TV,
into Truth FM 96.1.
what's the meaning of the black barrier?
The black barrier is to tell Joseph Bakala, if you don't organize yourself in your grateful manner, we'll take your plate like
You might say what you want to say, but for us, we are here.
Many thanks for joining us. We've been powered by Orange Liberia and EcoBank Liberia Limited. We've been powered by Orange Liberia and EcoBank Liberia Limited. At this point, we join Sheike to bring us the news bulletin. Good evening.
Good evening, Johnson. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to RCR News Bulletin. Former political leader of the Unity Party, Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, has denied claims circulating on social media that she allegedly donated 1,000 bags of cement and 15,000 to the Congress for Democratic Change (CDC). The former president strongly condemns what he termed as misinformation surrounding her alleged involvement. In the strong rebuttal, Sirleaf characterized the CDC recent statement as false and misleading, asserting that such claims are a force of her character. She emphasized that not a single member of the CDC has solicited her support for the construction of their new party headquarters. The former president's response intends to clarify her stand within growing speculations and to protect her legacy for what she described as unfounded accusations. The House of Representatives has officially accepted communication from the executive mansions in response to its request for a temporary suspension of the key components of the concession agreement with the Liberia Traffic Management. The legislature had earlier called for a halt to the implementations of provisions concerning vehicle registration, driver's licenses, and license plate insurance, pending a full-scale investigation and reviews of the agreement. In a letter dated August 7, 2025, addressed to Madam Madred N. Senior, Chief Clerk of the House, Acting Minister of State for Presidential Affairs, Aja Mamaka Belete, acknowledged receipt of House request and affirmed the executive's commitment to transparency, a due process, and institutional collaborations. The letter emphasized that the matter has been noted with urgency and seriousness, that appropriate steps are already underway in line with the President's directive. The House interventions follow growing public concern over the LTM agreement, particularly regarding service delivery, cost implications, and oversight mechanism. Lawmakers reiterated their constitutional duty to safeguard national interests and ensure that all concession agreements reflect lawful conduct and ethical standards, with both branches of government aligned on the need for a thorough review. Further engagement between relevant agencies and stakeholders are expected in the coming weeks. The outcome of this process will likely shape future public-private partnership and reinforce Liberia's commitment to accountable governance. Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency, LDEA, newly inducted officers in charge, Deputy Commissioner of Police Preducer has threatened to immediately weed out personnel of the agency found undermining the fight against illicit drugs. The DCP Biago declared that any officer of the LDEA found compromising the fight against drug trafficking and distributions will be dismissed and forwarded to court for prosecutions. The new ORC stressed that his leadership will not compromise in enforcing the laws of Liberia against drug traffickers, distributors, and their collaborators. He emphasized that LDEA under his command will act with full force to dismantle criminal networks and protect the country's youth and future for the scourge of narcotics. According to DCP Biago, the LDEA is taking the fight to the traffickers, the distributors, and every enablers of what he termed as deadly trade. He stated that the LDEA is now on high alert, and the laws of Liberia will be enforced without fear or favor. He made this remark Monday during the official takeover ceremony at the LDEA headquarters, vowing to restore discipline, integrity, and operational effectiveness to the agency. Meanwhile, the newly appointed officer in charge of the Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency has officially launched a compulsory nationwide drug test for all officers in the employ of the agency. The LDEA officers in charge, Preducer Biago, disclosed that those leading the war on drug in the country must not be beyond reproach, as this will set the tendencies of accountability, integrity, and discipline in the force. Addressing the press conference on Monday in Monrovia, Commissioner Biago called every citizen to cooperate with the LDEA in combating this dangerous menace creeping in the Liberian society. According to him, the LDEA will work closely with the Liberian National Police and other members of the joint security in every operations. The chairman of the Congress for Democratic Change has described the Bouaka government as a group of selfish and untrustworthy individuals who assume state power to suppress and intimidate critical voices in the country. Speaking at the press conference here at the party's local headquarters in District 8, Mosrado County, Chairman Janga Ko asserted that the Unity Party government came to power through lies and deceit. He condemned what he termed as reckless actions by the Bouaka administration, particularly its recent decision to demolish the CDC headquarters, stressing that the party will not bow to intimidations. As the largest opposition parties in Liberia, the CDC chairman called on ECOWAS, the African Union, the United States government, the European Union, and the United Nations to take note of what he describes as the ill treatment of opposition leaders in the country. He further urged the international community not to ignore these alleged atrocities being carried out by UP-led government, warning that timely interventions is crucial before the situation worsens. Meanwhile, the Congress for Democratic Change has denied knowledge of anyone or any arms and ammunitions that were discovered by officers of the Liberian National Police during evictions of 8 former headquarters in Congo time. CDC National Chairman Janga Ko said it was calculated plot by the Liberian government through the Liberian National Police to denigrate the reputations of the party. Addressing the press conference here in Monrovia on Monday, Chairman Ko cautions the government against weaponizing the judiciary as a springboard to clamp down on opposition's party. Ruling United Party's National Coordinating Committee has expressed disappointment over what it termed as a misrepresentations of its national chairman Luther Tapper's comment regarding Liberia's current political landscape. Speaking recently in B-Play, District Number 5, Nima County, Chairman Tapper stated that despite the numerous registered political parties in Liberia, the former ruling party and the Unity Party have consistently been the top two contenders in recent elections, something which has sparked political debate. But the ruling Unity Party in a statement clarified that Chairman Tapper's remarks were not intended to belittle or undermine the strength of other parties, particularly members parties of the Unity Party alliance. The ruling party is intended or extending sincere apologies to any individuals or parties who may have felt offended by the comment. The party in a statement acknowledges the invaluable contributions of the alliance parties in bringing the current administration to power and appreciates their ongoing support for President Joseph Boakai government. The Liberian National Police has confirmed on evening of August 31, 2025, between 9 and 10 p.m., an officer discharged a firearm at the Iron Gate checkpoint in Brewerville, resulting in the injury of a civilian. The officer involved has been identified as Sergeant Abdurrahman or Abdulaziz S. Kroma, Class 45, ID 5766, assigned to Parkour Police Stations, Brewerville. The police statement said at the time of the incident, Sergeant Kroma was off duty. According to the police, preliminary findings indicate that a weapon used was not his official service arm, but is registered to another officer, Inspector Monica J. Cisse, ID 3603, from the Emergency Response Unit, the ERU. The victims, identified as Hassan Carter, was immediately transported to the John F. Kennedy Medical Center and is currently receiving medical treatment. Sergeant Kroma is in custody while a full investigation is underway. The Liberian National Police says it remains steadfast in its commitment to uphold the rule of law. The Liberian National Police stressed that no officer will be shielded from responsibility and the public will be kept fully informed as the investigation progresses. Mosquito County District Number 7 Representative Emmanuel Dan has formally requested the leadership of the Honorable House of Representatives to invite the head of the Liberian National Police for clarification following a controversial raid on the offices of the Associations of Liberia Professional Secretariats and CLET Incorporated, widely known as the World Trade Center. In a communication dated August 28, Representative Dan expressed concern over the August 11 police operations on Galley Street, Central Monrovia, during which computers, printers, and other essential business equipment were confiscated. The raid has sparked public outrage, particularly among small business owners and youth who rely on the center for income and professional development. Representative Dan, in a communication, stated, for decades, the World Trade Center has served as a beacon of self-empowerment for Liberians from all walks of life. Mosquito County District Number 7 Representative Emmanuel Dan stressed that the recent actions of the police have disrupted livelihoods and deepened hardship for families who depend on these legitimate enterprises. The Liberian Medicine and Health Product Regulatory Authority has begun the two-day stakeholders conference on pharmacy vigilance and clinical trials in Monrovia. The program, which is here under the theme Medicine Safety Monitoring and Clinical Trial Oversight in Emerging Regulatory System, is taking place at the Ellen Johnson Shelley Ministerial Complex in Congotown. Speaking Monday at a ceremony marking the beginning of the conference, the Managing General of the authority, Luke Bayo, said the conference is intended to provide an opportunity for regional and local health regulators, practitioners to deliberate and engage one another on challenges affecting the sector and find applicable solutions. Bao expressed hope that the participants will deliberate on issues affecting the medicine and health sector so as to advance the necessary recommendations for the government. Remarks on behalf of the partners, Alimahiro Doga, Senior Technical Officer, African Center for Disease Control, stressed the needs for actionable efforts to mitigate some of the health challenges in Africa. The African Union, in collaborations with the Tax Justice Network Africa and the African Tax Administration Forum, has begun a 3-day deliberations in assessing Liberia's technical progress and challenges in combating illicit financial flows in Monrovia. The deliberation hosted by Integrated Watch Liberia will bring together policymakers, representatives from civil society organizations, the African Union, the integrated institutions in Liberia. Delivering a keynote speech marking the deliberation, the Director General of Liberia Institute for Geoinformation Services, Richard Gaffron, cautions the participants to use statistics in combating the illicit financial flow in the country. According to Gaffron, this initiative will help track the records of illicit finances in order to determine their sources and their destinations. Remarking during the program, the senior advisor to the African Tax Administration Forum, Emmanuel Eze, said the anti-illicit financial flows policy tracker is a self-assessment tool developed to help African governments evaluate national responses to FFR or FFS. The Board of Trustees of the University of Liberia says it understands the concern raised by the U.S. Faculty Association, but urge all faculty and staff to return to work while their concerns are being addressed. The U.S. Board issued a statement on Monday, September 1, 2025, in response to the University of Liberia Faculty Association announced dischargement from all academic activities across the university. Given the urgency the board has attached to offer consent, it has scheduled an emergency meeting to be convened on Wednesday, September 3, 2025. The board says it has taken note of OSA's call on Friday, August 29, 2025, for members to refrain from attending academic activities until the unresolved welfare issues are addressed. However, the board assured all faculties and stakeholders that it is actively working to address critical matters affecting the smooth operations of the university. The board urges all faculties and staff to ensure the continuity of learning, of teaching, learning, and research activities, which are vital for maintaining the missions of the university. House of Rep, former House Speaker J. Funati Kofa and 14 other defendants are expected to respond to the criminal indictment on Tuesday, September 2, 2025, at the Criminal Code A in connection to the burning of the Capitol building on December 18, 2024. Judge Elizabeth Wiley, according to our judicial correspondent, has since issued a notice of assignment to both prosecutions and defense lawyers regarding Tuesday's proceeding. Our judicial correspondent said Judge Wiley's notice comes at the time when prosecuting lawyers met the court August 27, 2025 deadline and to surrender all pieces of evidence to the defense lawyer as provided by law. The former House Speaker is among 14 other defendants who were indicted by a special grand jury of Monserrato County in connection to the burning of the Capitol building on December 18, 2024. In more of that news, 6 Capitol building suspects petitioned to the Supreme Court to reverse Judge Elizabeth Wiley's decision and suffered a serious legal setback before court. Associate Justice James Herter Wiley called it Monday, according to our judicial correspondent, declined to issue the alternative rate of mandamus as proved by the 6 suspects' lawyers. Though Justice Wiley called it decision falls short to state any legal ground, but our action was contrary to a communication dated on August 29, 2025 to both defense and prosecuting lawyers with a mandate to Judge Elizabeth Wiley resume jurisdictions over the matter consistent with law. The Director General of the Liberia Standard Authority, Stephen Mambo, has unveiled a 5-year vision in transforming the institutions into a competent and nationally recognized standardization body. The vision will effectively serve Liberia's need through sustainable and robust conformity assessment services. Speaking during an internal awareness meeting here on Monday, Babu stated by 2029, LISA will be a fully established and highly capable institutions equipped to meet the country's growing standardization demand. He outlined an 8-point strategy plan, which includes institutional directions, infrastructure development, organization development, human capacity building, consumer protections, and compliance. In a way from home, a woman has been burned to death by a moth in northern Niger state after she was accused of blaspheming against Prophet Muhammad, police have said. Police condemned the killings of woman identified in local media as a food vendor named Amae as jungle justice, saying that an investigation was underway to arrest the prosecute the perpetrators. Local media noted or quoted eyewitnesses as saying a man jokingly proposed marriage to the vendors, and a response was considered blasphemous by some people in the area. The news bulletin, it is back to you, Johnson, for the continuations of the program.
Ria TV, True FM.
Say Ria TV, True FM.
On Ria TV.
Into Truth FM 96.1.
What's the meaning of the black barrier?
The black barrier is to tell Joseph Bakala, if you don't organize yourself in a welcome manner, we'll keep you later.
You might say what you want to say, but for us, we are here to make sure we build our country, that we are respected. We have donors that are coming because of the confidence.
News bulletin is a regular feature here on News Desk. Thanks to Sheike for bringing us the news bulletin. If you're just joining us, this is News Desk for the 5 minutes of news from the News and Current Affairs Department here at the Renaissance Communications Incorporated. In one of our top developments, House of Representatives accepts a communication from the Executive Mansion in response to its request for a temporary suspension of key components of the concession agreement with the Liberia Traffic Management. Let's bring it up for development on the program. Former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf has denied claims circulating on social media that she allegedly donated 100 bags or 1,000 bags of cement and 15,000 United States dollars to the Congress for Democratic Change. The former president strongly condemns what she termed as misinformation surrounding her alleged involvement. In a strong rebuttal, former President Sirleaf characterized the CDC's recent statement as false and misleading, asserting that such claims are a falsehood of her character. She emphasized that not a single member of the CDC has solicited her support for the construction of the new party headquarters.
I'm glad you said allegedly. I am here on the spot. We're here for 3 days. Doesn't really know what's going on here. And let me say this in response. Those people who took the crap on social media, they must just love me. They must just love me and send people most of me and what they have just said and damn. Anybody who put that crap out there, I say they are damn. Please do it for me and put it just as I say it. Put it there in the media, let everybody hear exactly what it is. Then they need to start these damn lies. Just tell it, let everybody hear it well. Okay? They ever reach out, I mean, the CDC, have you ever reached out to you for support? Never. No CDC person has reached me on no support. No reason to call me for support. I'm busy with my things I do, with my business things I do with my phone. I'm out of that damn politics. That's why the politics is so terrible. Because it's so sensational. You know, and it just makes people so tired. People want to do the good things for the country. You want to promote the good part of the country. You want to be supportive to all the agencies of government. You want to support the president and everything he does. This is in the interest of the country. And every day somebody come out with some nonsense on the up. It's so terrible. I can't push that. You're doing just like it was. It's so bold with laziness how they can work. Put it anyway you want to put it to you. Just tell it the way it is. They don't know exactly how I feel. Just tell them, I'm working so hard. All they do is taking part in with people. Creating tension in the country. Trying to divide people when we're trying to promote reconciliation. And we're creating all kinds of things to cause trouble.
That's the voice of former Liberian President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf speaking via mobile phone on OKFM. The chairman of the Congress for Democratic Change had described the Bouaka government as a group of selfish and untrustworthy individuals who assume state power to suppress and intimidate critical voices in the country. Speaking at a press conference held at the party local headquarters in District 8 of the county, Chairman Jangako asserted that the UP government came to power through lies and deception. That he condemned what in terms as reckless action by the Bouaka Kuna administration, particularly its recent decision to demolish the CDC headquarters, stressing that the party would not bow to intimidation.
Just like they have given power to provide freedoms in the future of our people. We will try to touch those people. But we will show that the legal government of just policies will be there. As the largest opposition party in the country, because ECOWAS, African Union, the US government, the European Union, the United Nations, so people is a substance. The same is don't wait until our people are plunged into total despair. They have paragraphs. We as CCC will resist loudly, clearly, but be sure. We will not bow to it. Whenever we move this government trying to impose on us, we as a CDC will never surrender our country to oppression.
Anthony Jangako is the chairman of the Opposition Congress for Democratic Change. They are speaking at a press conference in Monrovia. Meanwhile, the Congress for Democratic Change has denied knowledge of any arms or ammunition that were discovered by officers of the Liberian National Police during the invasion of its former headquarters in Congo Town. CDC National Chairman Anthony Jangako said it was a calculated plot by the LMP and the government to destroy the name of the party. We hope to bring you that episode in our subsequent broadcast. For today's development on the program, Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency newly inducted officer in charge, Deputy Commissioner of Police Fitzgerald Biaga, has started to immediately weed out personnel of the force found undermining the fight against illicit drugs. DCP Bango has declared that any officer of the LDA found compromising the fight against drug trafficking and distribution will be dismissed and forwarded the code for prosecution.
LDA, we are fully aware of the alarming challenges that lie ahead of us. Yet we are equally confident that with all hands on deck, communities, schools, private communities, and national we are just leading the boat, we are all in the boat together. The ID always say we are all in the boat or something, holding the boat. Yeah, so when I get into the boat, why don't they take the boat was the water, still, so then I water in the boat. So we digging the water in the boat, the father, that allow just soaking the water, saying what for all the drown. Getting stronger than what going business of high water in the boat. We see you, we take you, then why not be your water loading back to the water and getting it around very tough, very messy. To force the law, that will uphold the law. The one that will force the law, you have to uphold the law. Can't be the difficult and be about it. Our lives will not be possible on the bed. All of you, I'm sure let's see this street. I will not very much career for any other person. And the police have one of those that I have with you. I think I'm going to go ahead and say, what you have? Then go to my senior resident. I want to discuss secret. But once we come here, nothing on the place. The matter of fact, we are now to all of this. Also, that is that they use this restricted information, everything. The kind of
Vijera Bango is the officer in charge of the Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency. Meanwhile, Bango has officially launched a temporary nationwide drug test for all officers in the employ of the agency.
As we take forward the leadership of LDA, we are fully aware of the alarming challenges allowed ahead of us. Yet, we are equally confident that with determination, discipline, and collective efforts, we can overcome these challenges so that dignity, integrity, and effectiveness will be removed. The liberation and abuse of illicit drugs stands today as one of Libya's national threats confronting Nigeria. Many individuals are youth, undermines our communities, and pose a direct risk to national security. Concerning this chapter describes a full control of every Nigerian. Together, we must bring the 2003 from this devastating period of drugs. But this fight must begin with us, the men and women of the Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency. We will lead the war against drugs, but they shall be beyond reproach. Therefore, I hereby announce the immediate launch of the Preducer nationwide drug test for all LGU officers. This will set a tool for accountability, integrity, and discipline to be our ranks.
Vijera Bango is the officer in charge of the LDE, Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency. They're speaking at a press conference in Monrovia. The African Union, in collaboration with the Tax Justice Network Africa and the African Tax Administration Forum, has begun a 3-day deliberation aimed at assessing Liberia's technical progress and challenges in combating illicit financing flows in Monrovia. Delayed in the keynote address marking the start of the program, the Director General of the Liberia Institute for Geoinformation Services, Richard Gaffron, cautioned the participants to use statistics in combating the illicit financial flow in the country.
Our focus is the utilization of statistics in tracking illicit financial flows, because you cannot conduct adequate monitoring and evaluation. You cannot conduct adequate tracking without the integration of data from different sources. For instance, how do you track missing invoices when it comes to trade? We are aware of our exports to all countries. But what is being worked on at the interest in Liberia in terms of those exports from Liberia are not the same value. So we also have situations where we can be able to understand trend analysis when it comes to balance of payments. We can understand that, we can be able to know, given the trends, to what extent there might be symptoms of illicit financial flows across countries. So it is a good discussion. It is a discussion that is meant to transform our country. And obviously, as individuals from the National Statistics Office, we are deeply happy that the discussion is on, and we are willing to be a part, especially when you do the necessary for multi-sectorial collaboration.
That's the voice of the Director General of the Liberia Institute for Geoinformation Services, Richard Gaffron, there speaking. Also greets no occasion with the senior advisor to the Africa Tax Administration Forum, Emmanuel Isi, who made these remarks.
Liberia is one of our members. We've got 44 countries across the continent as members of the TAC. Working on your mandate. TACAF have worked with other Pan-African organizations to come up with a policy tracker. As we go into the program, you'll begin to see how this reinforces our collective mandate as a people to raise and retain sufficient resources for our development. The fight against IMF, as we all know, has become even more imperative given the fact that we continue to have the Green Visa Development Assistance. The cost of accessing further across the universe has increasingly become high, but we still need funds for development. It is for this reason that we developed this tool, the self-assessment tool. It helps us to find gaps. Where are the leakages? How do we fix it? And I'm glad to say that working on the market, The African Tax Administration Forum and the Torgbean organization have sufficient resources, have sufficient competence, not just to be
Emmanuel AC is the senior advisor to the African Tax Administration Forum. They are speaking earlier on, heard the voice of the Director General of the Liberia Institute for Geoinformation Services, Richie Kafonde, spoke at the start of a 3-day conference in Monrovia. At this point, we join Naomi Tabia to bring us the Passion of Life Sports and News Desk. program. The Director General of the Liberia Standards Authority, Stephen Mabu, has unveiled a 5-year vision aimed at transforming the institution into a competent and nationally recognized body. The vision will effectively serve Liberia's needs through sustainable and robust confirmation assessment services. Speaking during an internal awareness meeting held in Monrovia, Mabu stated that by 2029, LISA will be a fully established and highly capable institution equipped to meet the country's growing demands.
You understand? Because we have set target every month, we have a target. Every quarter, we have a target. So those targets will be very much efficient in every other thing. My friend, it means current to be on everything. It means us getting water everything. It means us making sure that the generator works everything. It means us to make sure that we have station ready everything. It means us to make sure that the analysts are over there doing their work everything. It's an everything. First of all, I want to focus on and so there will be a question here during the national survey, and we have that. After we have done that, we then collate all the families and be able to prioritize that these are our standardization needs that we have in Liberia.
That's the Director General of the Liberia Standards Authority, Stephen Mabu, there speaking at an engagement in Monrovia. The Liberia Medicine and Health Product Regulatory Authority has begun a 2-day stakeholders conference on pharmacy, vigilance, and clinical trials in Monrovia. Speaking Monday at the ceremony marking the beginning of this conference, the Managing Director of the authority, Luke Bow, said the conference is intended to provide the opportunity for regional and local health regulators, practitioners to deliberate and engage one-on-one on challenges affecting the sector.
Research, healthcare providers, regulatory bodies, lawmakers, and industry leaders, but also as passionate advocates for the highest standards of patient care. Your presence here underscores the importance of our collective mission to ensure that the medical products we deliver and develop are not just effective but also safe. Talking about safety, we at the LHRA have endeavored to add another dimension in ensuring the safety and efficacy of medical products. We are about to institute a track and trace program for medical products and an elaborate upgrading of.
Thus, the Managing Director or the Managing General of the Liberia Medicine and Health Product Regulatory Authority, Luke Bow, there speaking finally to this development. The spokesperson of the National Council of Chiefs and Elders, Matthew Smith, has re-echoed calls for national government to pay the agreed workers of the council their 13 months salary arrears. Speaking to RCI News at the weekend, the financial controller of the council said he personally has made several efforts in making sure that the workers receive their just benefit, stressing that many of the affected workers have died as a result of the situation.
As a spokesperson and financial controller of the National Council of Chiefs and Elders, I have come back again on behalf of the 81 employees where they have died in the process for the frustration to continue appealing to President Waka for our basic salary. This month, they take 13 months. They are not receiving any money. We are civil servants of government. We are not on supplemental payroll. You might call himself chief backup president. Now, a serious problem for this government in this country. We stop our pay and we wrote President Waka. I took the letter there and delivered it in President Waka office in the hands of the secretary. Since then, because this government, any government for that matter, you don't have to run on friendship basis. You don't have to run on this person that my uncle, that my niece, or that my nephew, but we have to do the right thing for the Nigerian people. According to Article 1 of our Constitution, we put the president there. Why it is true? Because at once, after great inflation, it's the same thing as if any minister not proceeding well, he has a right to debate that minister. Now what?
That's the voice of the spokesperson of the National Council of Chiefs and also the financial comptroller at the institution, Chief Marvin Smith, there speaking to RCI News, taking us home on today's edition of the program News Desk as we take leave of you, a recap of our major developments. Former United Party political leader Ellen Johnson Sirleaf denies claims circulating in the public that she allegedly donated 1,000 bales of cement and 15,000 United States dollars to the Congress for Democratic Change. House of Representatives accepts communication from the executive mansion in response to its request for a temporary suspension of key components of the concession agreement with the Liberia Traffic Management. Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency newly inducted officer in charge threatens to weed out personnel of the agency for undermining the fight against illicit drug in Liberia. And away from Liberia, a court in Finland sentences a controversial leader of a Nigerian secessionist movement to 6 years in prison after convicting him of terrorism-related offenses. We'd love to say many thanks to our writers, contributors, correspondents for making today's edition of the program Resources. Thanks to affiliate radio station for relaying this broadcast. Orange Liberia and EcoBank Liberia Limited are our sponsors on the program. Thanks to Myean Torgbean, who has been behind the camera. Daniel Sony, Sarah control and produce our sound. On behalf of the production crew, our band presenter, Johnson Bantoma. Good night.
Ria TV, True FM.
Say Ria TV, True FM.
On Ria TV.
Into True FM 96.1.
What's the meaning of the black barrel?
The black barrel is to tell Joseph Bakala if you don't organize yourself in a respectful manner, we'll keep your data like
You might say what you want to say, but for us, we are here to make sure we build our country, that we are respected. We have donors that are coming because of the confidence.
Some news summary of talk. My name is Hansen the represent.
Welcome to news and analysis 30 minutes of news presentation about Liberia, Africa, and our one world.
Presenting this newscast is proudly sponsored by Orange Liberia and EcoBank Liberia Limited.
How is life after the presidency?
But before the presidency, the same life, that's what you see. I live a different life. You know, when I was not president, this life, that's what I live, you know, with my family and
I have a lot of interest in the health sector, the educational sector, and the agriculture sector. Roads, connecting roads.
Yeah, we are calling international community to come to intervene for us because, like I just stated previously, we don't know who to trust.
Always make sure to turn on to our
Ria TV and listening to Truth FM 96.1.